Hello everybody, welcome back for another video. Hope you're all having a great day and that you are all doing well. A quick side note, I have a fan on in the room because it is 9,000 degrees here, so sorry if you can hear that, but I would much rather have it on than melting into a puddle as I am making this video. So let's start. According to Peter Cheer, there is an ongoing manipulation of Bitcoin price. What the macro and fixed income expert isn't sure of is whether such price manipulations are against the law. The Department of Justice recently began investigating suspected trading malpractices in the cryptocurrency market. Writing in an open-ed for Forbes, macroeconomist Peter Cheer states that he'd be surprised if there weren't any shenanigans going on with the way Bitcoin prices move, saying, whether the activities meet the legal definition of manipulation or can lead to a criminal indictment remains to be seen, but I'd be shocked if there wasn't manipulation of prices occurring. Never forget rule number 2 of the 3 rules of Bitcoin: there are no rules. According to Cheer, whales and miners have vested interest in higher Bitcoin prices. For miners, it makes sense for them to want to put the prices higher from an economic perspective. Otherwise, mining no longer becomes a profitable enterprise. Shear drew comparisons with the mainstream market, arguing that wealth concentration gives whales the incentive to push prices higher. There is, however, a significant aspect missing from Cheer's analysis, as it ignores the incentive for price declines. Whales can take advantage of these sell-offs by shorting Bitcoin and strengthening their monopoly on the market. They can acquire more Bitcoin at lower prices before driving prices higher again. On May 24th, reports emerged that the Department of Justice and the CFTC were looking to probe suspected Bitcoin price manipulation. According to inside sources, because they're always inside, spoofing and wash trading are the focus of the investigation. The Department of Justice believes traders are engaging in illicit trading activities to move crypto prices in their desired direction. Cheer is correct in pointing out that the lack of regulations in the market make it possible for such alleged manipulations to occur. Bitcoin is currently experiencing a week-long decline that's seen the price, the number one coin, bounce off support at $7,000. If you have noticed, and I've noticed over the last day and a half, I want to say 2 days or something like that, we saw maybe the prices are a bit different by the time I post this video, or if you're watching it a bit later on. But we all saw Bitcoin very close to 7,000, and then it hit around, popped up to 7,500. Everyone got really optimistic. A lot of coins were going up by 27, 33%. And currently the price of Bitcoin, at least at the moment, is going down. And it's been happening for a couple of hours. And I was telling my friend, I don't know if he's listening to this. Hello, if you are. We were talking about price manipulation and everything that's happening within the market. And a lot of people are really perplexed. Why would people want the price to go down? It's the same thing why you would kind of want it to go up, because the people who are manipulating the market, who have enough to manipulate the market, who have 10, 20, 30, 40, 50,000 Bitcoin and are selling and or buying at a time, they are literally making on any given day anywhere from $50,000 to maybe $500,000 per day. So in the end, they don't really care what happens to our money, because they're imagine making $500,000 a day and then cashing out, and then, you can kind of go do whatever you want. This is partially, not even partially, this is actually a major problem that's happening right now. I'm glad that it's being spoken about, because for a long time, I told people that it was happening, or that it could eventually occur or become what it kind of is now. People said there was no way Bitcoin can never be manipulated. There was no way that anybody would ever want to manipulate the price of Bitcoin. They only wanted the price to go up. That is very true. But if you stand to make even $50,000 a day, and you can do this over the course of a 6 to 9 month period, think of how much Bitcoin you stand to accumulate. And then when prices do finally go up, you've made hundreds of millions of dollars. It's all very interesting. I don't think this is something that's going to go away anytime soon. I still think, at least me, the only optimistic silver lining I can see in the clouds is if these people somehow decide to let the prices skyrocket and we all go along for the ride. But there's literally no way for them to be able to stop this, because as my friend pointed out, even if the SEC or the CFTC does end up coming down with a strong hammer and they tell these people, no, you cannot do this, Binance doesn't care about that. Neither do all the other exchanges that are all around the world, because the SEC and the CFTC, while the US may have a very long reach, they cannot reach completely around the world and tell other exchanges what they can or cannot do. So eventually, at some point, I am certain prices will go back up. But I think it's once the whales have literally had enough to eat, and that's just kind of what I feel is eventually going to happen. Who knows when, but this is how things are, at least for the moment. He looks very stern. Alrighty. Yeah, took a while to click on that. BitGo, the cryptocurrency security firm, has hired a former Bloomberg trade book executive to serve as its new vice president of sales. The hire of Josh Schwartz was announced in a blog post published on Tuesday. BitGo says that Schwartz's experience in business development roles will assist in building institutional-grade security, storage, compliance, and custody solutions for digital assets. The company announced the hire as part of the effort to build its own in-house asset custodian. Prior to BitGo, Schwartz was Bloomberg's global head of business development for its trade book product, a former head of business development at Axion Investment Advisors, and has previously worked at finance services firm Cantor Fitzgerald, according to the Post. This is happening more and more, and I think it's quite fascinating. A lot of these companies are hiring former banking executives or people who were former hedge fund managers for banks or these large institutions. They're slowly moving over to cryptocurrencies. And there was when Coinbase announced that they were trying to, expand their current operation. They were trying to get, more people working for them. I think I may have skipped over it for a couple of days because didn't seem that important, at least not in February. A lot of people who they were hiring were actually former bankers, and I mean like really big heads of banks. I don't know. I think it's funny when we get news like this because these people are kind of shifting from one section to the other, because I'm sure they see that there is more money to be made in coins that go up by 20% a day than stocks that go up by 6% a year. Next up, a foreign exchange brokerage based in the UK has announced that it successfully tested distributed ledger startup Ripple's xRapid product, which uses the digital asset XRP. Currencies Direct said on Monday that it conducted several money transfers using xRapid, which it claimed were completed within seconds compared to the use of traditional systems, which can take upwards of 5 days. The company called the pilot a technological proof of concept for XRP as a means of value transfer, achieving superior speed of payment and end-to-end transparency, according to the release. Whoa. Currencies Direct Chief Product Officer Brian Harris went on to declare the pilot's programs a resounding success, saying that using XRP to facilitate future transfers can help the firm significantly improve customer service. Harris added that the pilot's success represents a revolutionary step for the industry, according to the release. Good job, Ripple. Good job, XRP. You may have noticed over the last, it has to be at least 2 weeks now, a lot of people have been talking about that for some reason it seems as if Ripple is distancing itself from XRP. And I saw this for the first couple of times and I was like, okay, whatever. I get really weird comments, or I see a lot of weird things on forums. This, I believe, is actually happening, and I believe this is happening for a couple of reasons. You may have noticed over the last couple of weeks, we have had, first of all, there's been less news about many of the major currencies, especially when it comes to being a security. But I have an inkling that despite what the Howey test actually says, and exactly what is, whatever's going on with the SEC, that at some point, Ripple probably received a letter telling them that there was a huge chance that their coin, or that the coin that was gifted to them, is a security because of their backing of it. So what I believe is currently happening is that this is why I remember 2 weeks ago, Ripple actually created something, what's it called? Spring, I think it was, where they're trying to build other companies and other other companies, whatever you want to call them, that are going to be using XRP and will make sure that XRP continues to go forward. Because a lot of people were like, maybe they're giving up on XRP. We all know how much XRP Ripple holds, and I strongly doubt that they're going to give up on, their XRP. They're not going to definitely dump it into the market because that's money for them. But this seems to be exactly what's going on. So I'm expecting more XRP tested news coming out within the next couple of weeks. But yeah, the entire them backing away from XRP, this seems to be the only logical way for them to not have XRP being listed as a security. Like I said, these people have been talking to the SEC for at least a year and a half, if not months. Like the news that we get is like the back end of everything that's happening at the end. Like we are the normal people who get the news after everyone else kind of knows about it. So I assume that they are trying to shy away from it, because you may have noticed during their recent interviews that they're constantly talking about that it was gifted to them. It is not theirs. It was gifted to them. They don't own it. It is gifted to them. So I think this is what's going on, because the same thing with Ethereum. This is why they've also kind of become very hush-hush when it comes to them being a security, when it's still a major topic that is going on. Ethereum Classic is in the news today. Ethereum Classic has announced the success of defusing the difficulty bomb that was found in the network code, which was set to render mining unprofitable. Ethereum Classic forked from Ethereum in 2016. It's 2 years already, that's crazy, over a disagreement surrounding the loss of funds following the hack, which compromised the DAO, a smart contract funding project. Most of the community and original developers opted to fork the chain in order to reverse the transaction and return the lost funds to Ethereum users, but others felt the blockchain should never be altered, causing a rift and ultimately splitting the project into the two versions we have today. To be fair, part of this discussion, I remember when this was actually happening, and I agreed with the Ethereum Classic people for quite some time. But then the Vitalik came forward and he said the reason why he thinks that you shouldn't, or that there shouldn't be a fork and that you shouldn't alter it, that we shouldn't, make the blockchain go back into the past to retrieve these funds. He says, what happens if this happens 15 times a year? How many times can the chain then be altered? Who has the say in all of this? Because it's not ultimately the entire community, because someone could, in essence, try to destroy the network, cause an attack on the network, and then say, oh yeah, this the chain has to be reversed back to this one moment. So people could find a way to exploit this. So this is kind of where the argument come from. Apparently, the fork has now been implemented, making it easier for miners to reap the rewards of validating transactions on the network. All nodes are required to update in order to continue participating in the new version of Ethereum Classic, as other nodes running the old version will be unable to trade the currency they receive as rewards. Developers say that most of the nodes upgraded before the fork took place. The fork has been in the pipeline since 2016, and it was not particularly controversial. No significant change in market cap or currency value has taken place as of yet. This is the only place I think I've found news about this. I haven't seen this on any other website. No one else is talking about any type of Ethereum Classic hard fork. I think there's a lot more important things happening in the cryptocurrency community right now, like with the SEC releases that are happening this week. So a hard fork that didn't go wrong and that didn't cause a price drop probably is not going to make the news, but this is the only place where I was able to find the information. Glad to hear, like I always say, that Ethereum Classic is still in the news. I had all but assumed that at some point it would kind of float into obscurity somewhere, because you barely ever hear about the project. Next up, Poland's largest cryptocurrency exchange has announced that it is shutting shop in its home country and is relocating to the sunnier climes of Malta. Established in 2014, Polish crypto exchange BitBay provides access to 29 digital currencies, has over 800,000 active users, processes 125 transactions per minute, and has more than 200 employees, making it the biggest cryptocurrency business in the country. Yet, despite its established footing in Poland, the last Polish bank ready to provide bank services to cryptocurrency exchanges has decided to end its relationship with BitBay. This is happening all over the world, according to a company announcement. This will be effective from the 31st of May, and from the 17th September, trade on the exchange will be suspended. From the 18th of September, users will only be able to withdraw their funds deposited on their accounts. As a result, the exchange has taken the decision to suspend its exchange in Poland and look elsewhere to set up a new base. I am eternally confused as to why. I think countries literally don't see what's coming. I mean, it's not like they're listening to my channel. As much news that's out there, as much stuff that's being put on Bloomberg and Forbes and all these other places, even New York Times and all the documentaries that are being coming out, how don't they see that they're going to be losing tons of money? Remember I said like about a month and a half ago, I was saying between Malta and Puerto Rico and all these other like sunny countries, they're the only places that are now open or like the friendliest to cryptocurrency companies when other banks are kind of shutting them down. It logically doesn't make any sense. It kind of makes a bit more sense to kind of just say, okay, you can definitely work here, but we'll tax you. You're already in your own country. Why not just stay here? Something really weird is going on. I don't know if it's the fear of banks when it comes to cryptocurrency exchanges existing alongside them or maybe down the block from them. But articles like this, I think, are so funny, especially like these countries are going to get all the money. And then eventually what's going to happen is when the cryptocurrency market does explode, when all these coins are worth trillions of dollars, these same exact banks are going to be trying to open cryptocurrency custody accounts and bank accounts. And they're going to try and open up their own crypto exchange or try and buy back these cryptocurrency exchanges who are also leaving their own country. And it's going to be too late by then because everyone's going to know that all these sunnier, warmer, friendlier places are more acclimated for the crypto experience. It's all very, I don't know what's going on. I guess logic doesn't really hit most people. But yeah, this is sorry, tangent. This is definitely the news of BitBay for the day. Last up, this week, there is I believe the ICO for EOS ends and TRON's mainnet goes live at this point within a couple of hours. Minutes. I don't know the exact time that it's actually going forward, but this is something that is unprecedented. That does not normally happen in the market. We have a lot of coins I'm sure you've all seen before. If you have looked around over the last couple of months, any coin that typically announces that they're going to be launching, that they're launching in a couple of days, that their mainnet is launching, they typically see a gigantic rise in price, even like the day of. It goes completely insane. So when you have two top 10 coins, especially for EOS, I don't not like TRON, but I'm more geared toward EOS. Still, there should not be a dumping of a coin or a price drop before your coin is coming out. I guess this all ties into the manipulation thing. I don't even know. I wouldn't be surprised at the end of all of this if it's actually the people themselves and these coins who are possibly trying to push the prices further down in some sort of way in order to, I don't know. I'm all for speculation and stuff like that, but it seems very odd. TRON has been one of the most hyped projects I have ever seen in the cryptocurrency space. From the moment it was spoken about, and over the last couple of months, we've seen like really interesting periods where the price of TRON, I'm pretty sure it was at like 1 cent a couple of months ago, and now it's at 6. I think it hit 7 a couple of days ago. And the fact that it's going down, there hasn't been much negative news. I think there's a whole bunch of exchanges that are going to be integrating TRON. They're talking about they're going to be supporting the mainnet swap, and they're doing this. And I think another airdrop or something like that is coming from TRON, or someone else is dropping something on them, something along those lines. But the same exact thing with EOS. So it's kind of perplexing to me, at least, that none of this is moving in the right direction. I'm going to be 1,000% honest with you. I don't know what it's going to take anymore. I don't know what could possibly push the market up because, as we all very well know, since the price of Bitcoin is tied to everything else, as long as Bitcoin is being pushed down, everything else is kind of following it as well. I was reading an article and they were talking about the bearish nature of the market and why they think that the market hasn't moved simply because of not a lack of momentum, but it's like so many people are so discouraged by the cryptocurrency market and they're pretty sure that prices will only head down. But that's a lie. When Bitcoin's price a day and a half ago hit 7,500, you saw the market completely wrecked. Everyone was completely ready to go. I think xRapid was up like 18% or something like that. So I don't know. I really don't know. I'm trying to figure out a way to like say more, but it's all very odd. Let's see exactly what the rest of this week holds. Who knows exactly what's going to be happening. I'm expecting, like I said, in the long term for stuff to be, a bit better. I don't know if it's, we have news as well that I think the 13th of June or something like that. There's an not an ICO. There's a CFTC SEC meeting happening somewhere in the States. I think it's Atlanta. And it's expected that they will give some type of news about something, but it doesn't make sense. Like, the US doesn't control the market. It's Japan and South Korea, and they usually have a premium on their coins because they're usually gobbling so much of it up that they have a short of a supply than the rest of the world. So the fact that, I don't know, guys, I'm at a complete loss. None of this makes sense. I was listening to a podcast, and this woman, she sounded so down because she was like, she was so certain that prices were going to go back up after consensus, and she was like, I don't know what's going on in the market anymore. Between all the attention from banks and financial institutions, and the futures market might not be the most positive thing for the market, but it still brings momentum to everything. Mutual funds, hedge funds, retirement funds, everything that's been happening, all these events and conferences, prices don't go down after a conference. And yeah, I don't know. I really don't know. If you could see the inside of my head, it's like, I was going to make a Simpsons reference, but whatever. It's not really that important. I hope you guys have a great day, morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are, wherever you might be, whatever you might be doing. Hope it's amazing. I hope it's awesome. Thank you once again for all the support. I do appreciate it. And thanks again for watching. And I will talk to you all soon. See you.